Hey everybody! So this video is about my experience at Afrotech. I was lucky enough to be gifted a ticket to Afrotech this year, and this was my very first time going to Afrotech, and it was very timely because as y'all know, I need a job. So I was very excited to be able to go, especially to be able to go for free. And I'll talk more about how that happened towards the last half of this video. But yeah, so when I went, I also brought my mom with me, or I guess I shouldn't say it like that. My mom wanted to go, so my mom got a ticket and we spent the whole week together. We were there that Sunday through Saturday, so the entire last week of October, I was there. We got there early in the morning, and both of us were extremely tired. But as soon as we got off the plane, we went and got some food. This was one of the best meals that we had while there. And then we went to the hotel and got checked in, and both of us are germaphobes, so we wanted to make sure everything was nice and clean before putting our stuff down. So we got to cleaning the room, and by the time that was done, we ended up going to this place in Houston that's like a food hall and got to see some of the cityscape there. Really pretty, like around sunset. So spent some time there, then went into the food hall, and we were both still pretty full from our brunch earlier, so we didn't really eat much, but we got something to drink. She got a smoothie. Knowing me, I got boba tea. And then that Monday, we actually spent the day in San Antonio, and I'll be making a separate video about a really cool thing that I saw in San Antonio. And then it was time for the conference. So the conference was Tuesday through Thursday. And like, as y'all know, like I graduated from A&T, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University to be exact. So I'm a graduate of HBCU. And the best way that I can describe Afrotech is like if the corporate world was an HBCU. I loved it. I loved it, just meeting so many different types of people with so many different types of backgrounds. It was amazing. And like I said, this was my first time going, and I want to go next year. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I would love to go there next year. Now, the conference itself, it was a mixture of different sessions, people from different companies kind of either showing you how to use their products at that company or teaching you about a different concept. There was a lot of focus on AI, like a huge focus on AI, a lot of like how to use AI responsibly. Stacey Abrams gave a huge talk about AI and using it in like an ethical way. That was a really great talk. She was one of the biggest people that they had there that year. But there are a lot of different talks about AI. I kind of stuck to the talks about UX design and accessibility. And when I wasn't at those talks, then I was in the expo hall. And so I'm going to talk more about that later in the video. So the hotel that we picked, we strategically picked that hotel because it had a complimentary breakfast. So both of us are all about saving money, and we picked that hotel so that we didn't have to pay for one meal during the day. And every morning we got up and ate granola together. Good morning. So this is actually day 2 for me of Afrotech. Yesterday I didn't do that much vlogging just because I was very nervous and I had to get my mind right. But it's day 2. Mama is driving me. Hello. She says hey. So by the time this video comes out, Afrotech will be over. But if you are interested for next year, or you just want to know what it's like, whew, it is a lot. It's a lot of people. I don't know how many people are there, but it's a lot of people there. And when you first get there, it can feel a little overwhelming or a little overstimulating for my fellow like introverted people. It's going to be a lot. So make sure that you are mentally ready to be surrounded by people all day. And it is an all day thing. You can expect to be there early in the morning. It depends on what time you get there. I got there around 10, so I could have been there a little earlier, but I guess it depends on which talks you want to see. That'll determine how early you should get there. So which speakers you're interested, which topics you're interested in hearing. Also, if you've not picked up your badge the day before the conference starts, save time for picking up your badge. There is a very long line to get your badge, and you have to have that to get into the actual talks and to see the expo hall where all the recruiters are. So I would say allocate like at least 20 minutes for that. if you are getting your badge the day of, like the day the conference starts, because that's what I had to do. And it took up about 20 minutes waiting in line. The line does move quickly for the size of the line, but it's still a very long line. So put some time ahead for that, or aside for that. Ooh, the sun is bright. Hold on. So yesterday I went to like 3 or 4 different sessions, and then I spent time in the expo hall too. So that was my first time. Like, I've gone to multiple career fairs before, but that was my first time going to like a conference with that many recruiters there and that many companies there. So it's very overwhelming. They have the list of companies that are there, and they also have the booths. But once you're actually on the floor, there's so many people there that it's hard to find what company you're interested in unless they're the ones that have like a big sign. It can be hard. And also, there's a lot of big name companies there, but then there's smaller companies too. And everybody wants to go to the big name companies like Google, Netflix. Microsoft was there, Pinterest is there. Like, they have a lot of big companies there, but everybody wants to talk to the big companies, right? So my strategy for today, yesterday I stood in line to talk to some of the bigger companies, but my strategy for today is to go to smaller companies, because if you are standing in line to talk to Microsoft and they have 50 people in line, and each one of those people take like 3 minutes to talk to the recruiter, you're going to be standing in line for a long time, and that's going to take away opportunity to talk to other recruiters. So my strategy is to talk to smaller or mid-sized companies today in an effort to be able to talk to more people. And if you go that first day and you don't get to talk to the companies that you want to talk to, I was kind of like concerned about that. But then I had to remember, this is a conference that lasts all week. So it's not just one day, and it's not like you only get one opportunity to talk to them. Try to space it out and have different days where you talk to different companies, and just don't, if you try to do everything on one day, you'll get very overwhelmed. So don't try to do that, and just spread it out throughout the week. And then prioritize whichever speakers you want to hear. Now, they have some big name people coming to speak at the different sessions throughout the week, but it's not really set up where you can talk to them afterwards. So even though it's cool to see some of these like bigger name speakers, like Stacey Abrams is coming today, and I'm going to go listen to her talk, because I want to go, like, I want to meet her and I want to hear what she has to say. I shouldn't say meet her. I want to see her, because, like I said, I doubt that I'll actually get to talk to her. So it's cool to see some of these like bigger name people, but remember the purpose of why you're going there, right? Like, are you going there to like see celebrities and just have fun, or are you going there to get a job? The reason I'm here is to network, and hopefully, like, that networking can lead to a new job. So I want to prioritize time in the expo hall versus prioritizing going to the cool like speaker sessions. I'm having a good time. I was very nervous yesterday just because of who I am and my personality. I don't typically do well in conference type settings, especially if I have to go by myself. I typically don't do well because it's just a whole bunch of like talking to new people or being surrounded by new people. So typically I don't do well in situations like that. But I think I was just kind of in my head a little bit, and I had a fun time yesterday. I got to meet several of y'all. Like, I got to meet some subscribers, which was really cool. And I took pictures with a couple of them, and everybody was really nice. And even people that like didn't know me from YouTube, the people that I met like standing in line. I kept meeting like really cool people and having good conversations. So I'm not nervous today. I have more of like an excited energy to see like who I get to meet. Wish me luck. If you wished me luck, thank you, because I actually got an interview after the conference, and I'll talk about that later in the video. But I had so much fun. This week, it was very long. It was a very long week. I was very tired by the end of it. Okay, I was physically and mentally tired by the end of it, but I had such a good time. I met so many people, and like, I went by myself, but next year, like when I got back home, I was telling my friends, I was like, you got to come with me next year. We got to go. Like, yeah, we got to go to the conference, but we got to go to parties and everything, because I didn't get to go to any parties. And I met one girl, she said that she found a spreadsheet that had 97 parties that happened that week of Afrotech. And I was like, 97? So, yes, I've told my friend, like, next year we got to go to the conferences, but we got to have fun too. So, that's another reason I want to be able to go back next year because I could not afford to do any of that stuff. And I was there for a reason. And I want to give a huge shout out to my mom because if my mom did not come with me, this video or this trip would have been very different.
These are very aggressive drivers, very aggressive drivers.
She was not happy about the way people drive in Houston, but other than that, me and Mama had a great time. This was our first trip, just the two of us, because I come from a family of 5, and when we travel, it's usually all of us. So I had a wonderful time with it being just me and her. And we parted ways at the airport, and now I'm back home. Hey, so this is me a little in the future. It's been about 3 weeks, closer to a month since Afrotech has ended. So I just wanted to give y'all kind of my feedback around what I would do differently or tips that I learned and things to do after Afrotech has ended. So yeah, it's been a minute. Today is actually the day that the video with CNBC went live. So just to put things into perspective time-wise. So some time has passed. If you don't know what I'm talking about, CNBC interviewed me and the video's up on their YouTube channel and you should go view it. So yeah. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about Afrotech. So let's get back to that. The way that I was able to go to Afrotech is I have, as y'all know, I've been documenting my journey of being laid off this year. And the founder of Afrotech, Morgan, actually saw one of my TikToks and she messaged me and she was like, hey, I'd love to sponsor your ticket to Afrotech this year. And I was like, yes, please and thank you. So that's how I got to go. My ticket was free. I just had to figure out the logistics of getting there. So my flight, I use airline miles, and then for my hotel, I use majority points. So I depleted a lot of my Marriott points that I had, but I ended up having to pay out of pocket like $170 for 6 nights. So it's a pretty good deal. And then I got a rental car, and that rental car for the week was 300. But I mean, how much would I have spent on Ubers for 6 days? And then me and my mom, we went to San Antonio, and San Antonio was like a 3-hour drive. So it was well worth the cost of the rental car. We got our money's worth, definitely. So some things that I realized towards the end of Afrotech. So that first day, it was so crowded, like so crowded. But that's because there's different types of passes, and that first day was like a student day. So there was more people because those were the only days that like students could be there. So that's why it was so crowded in the expo hall. And now that I look back or think back on the schedule, I do think it said like expo hall early career or something. So I guess that day was supposed to be, sorry, said a spam call. But yeah, so I think that day was supposed to be focused towards people who are in college, early career type people who are looking for jobs. And after that, the expo hall wasn't nearly as crowded. It was still a lot of people there, especially that Wednesday. It was still a lot of people. But I think every day after that, less and less people were showing up. And what I didn't realize at first was that Friday was a half day. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were full days, like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And it was a lot, but that Friday was really just from like 9 a.m. to 12 or 1. So it ended like around noon. Also, that Friday was really like a content creator focused day. So I was still there that Friday. So all the talks, they were focused towards content creators, which I didn't realize that. And that's another tip I should say. You should really look at that schedule before going to the conference, because I looked, but I don't know, I felt like a lot of things were happening at the same time. And I don't know, it made it like a slightly more difficult reading the schedule, or maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a procrastinator. I don't know. But there's a lot of information on that schedule, and I would really study and make sure you understand the schedule before getting there, because when you're there, it's like everything is happening at once. Like the expo hall, whenever it opens, I don't think it opened right at 9, maybe it opened at 10 or something. But once it's open until the conference is done that day. So you have all day to talk to recruiters. But at the same time, there's different talks that are happening. So there's talks where people from different companies or different industries, they're giving anywhere from a 30-minute to an hour-long talk about their topic. Um, but they're all happening at the same time. So you have to pick and choose which one is important to you. And I was kind of going there from like two, or not going there, but going to the conference with like two mindsets because I wanted to go to talks that were focused on my career path, like UX design. There was a lot of accessibility talks that I wanted to go to. But at the same time, as a content creator, there were certain things that I wanted to see. So, like, there was one time where there was a talk with these really great women from Apple who lead their accessibility teams. I forget their actual job titles, but they're both like lead accessibility experts at Apple. And if you know anything about Apple, they really like set the standard for accessibility. Like they're huge in the accessibility space. They do a lot of great work in that area. And it was like their accessibility and design system people who were there. And I was like, that's what I want to do. I want both of your jobs. Like, teach me how you got your job. And I talked to them afterwards and everything. So I was really excited about that talk. But at the same time, Tiffany, the budgetnista, she was giving a talk. And I had to decide, like, do I do something for my career or do I do something for content creation? What do I do? What do I do? And I ended up talking to the women from Apple about accessibility. So did I make the right choice? I don't know. Only time will tell. Um, but going to Tiffany's talk, there's no guarantee that I would have been able to actually talk to her. So I think that's what led me to talk to or go to the accessibility session so that I could learn something. Even though I'm happy to say that even though I learned some things, most of the things I already knew. So that made me feel better about myself. But it was a lot of that. It was a lot of picking, okay, so which talk am I more interested in? And some of the talks were smaller, but some of them were bigger. There was Danessa Myricks was there. Her talk was actually in the expo hall, which I don't know why they put her there because I feel like it was harder or easier to be distracted because it was in the expo hall. Like I wish that she was in one of the other sections where it's like more of a closed off space where it would be quieter. Everyone could have a place to sit, that type of thing. So it was a lot going on at once. If I could give, I don't know if the team at Afrotech will watch this video, but if I could give them any suggestions, it was a lot going on at one time. And maybe that's how all conferences are. I'm not sure. I haven't been to that many conferences, but so it's kind of like the speakers were competing against each other to see like, are they going to come to my talk or are they going to come to your talk type thing? And there were a lot of cases where I hated that I had to choose because I would have liked to go to as many talks as I could, but at the same time, I wanted to go to the expo hall. So it was a lot, which is why I think I was saying earlier in the video that you really have to pick the reason that you're there. Is your reason to just live in the expo hall and talk to as many people as you can, talk to as many companies, as many recruiters as you can, or are you there to learn things and go to the different sessions? So that's up to you to figure out and know in advance what you want to prioritize. Also, food. I should mention food. Um, there's not a lot of free food. I was talking to my mom after that first day because she asked me what I ate, and I was like, well, I didn't want to spend a lot of money, so I had a water bottle and I just kept refilling the water bottle, and then I bought like a bag of chips, and that's all I had from like 10 to 5, and I was starving that first night when we left the conference. And she was like, don't do that again. Just buy some food. And I did do that. I just bought food the other days. But yeah, they have a lot of food options. There's lots of food trucks. There was this one company that had some amazing lemonade. Like, oh, that lemonade was so good. I got it 3 days in a row, and I just tried different flavors every day. Um, But there's a lot of things to eat. There's food trucks outside, and then in the expo hall, there were different like vendors there as well. I was just surprised that there was no free options. I was expecting, I don't know, like a box lunch or something. As for what you're paying, I kind of just expected some type of box lunch option. And again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just missed where the box lunches were. But if you were not one of the higher tiered tickets, so I had a premier ticket, which was, I think, like the most basic one that you could have outside of a student ticket. There was no like catered lunches or anything with that. But I think if you had one of the higher tier tickets, which cost more money, uh, I saw some like different sections in the conference center where it looked like those tickets had some catered lunches for them. But for everyone else, you had to spend your money every day to get lunch, unless you just weren't going to eat and just survive off of whatever snacks you brought with you while you're there for like a 8-hour day. Also, like I said, I brought a water bottle. There's plenty of stations to refill your water bottle, so that can save you some money there. Like you're most likely going to have to buy food, but as far as water goes, you don't have to buy anything to drink. Just bring a refillable water bottle or reusable water bottle, and then there was plenty of hydration stations all throughout the conference center. Some advice from my fellow introverted people: you can do this, okay? I'm very so I live alone. I have not worked this year, so when I was working remotely, at least I, had meetings every day. And I haven't worked in somebody's office since before COVID. So it's been more than 5 years of me not having a lot of direct um interactions with people. So I was very rusty on the whole like networking thing because I haven't had to do it in so long. But I really had to get out of my head and tell myself, like, you are here for a reason. The purpose of you being here is to network. Okay. So you have to talk to people. And that's what I did. I was so proud of myself. I made a goal of like every day you need to talk to 5 people that you don't know. And that first day, I only talked to 4. So I didn't complete my goal, but I still felt proud of myself because from my standards, that was pretty good. And when I told my mom, when I saw her that day, I told her that I only talked to 4 out of 5, and she was like, "Wow, I'm still really surprised." So yeah, that's me. I find it hard to talk to strangers sometimes, but I had to do it, and I just walked up to people and I initiated conversations like multiple times. I walked up to someone who was sitting at a table for lunch, and I like sat with them and actually talked to people during lunch. And I met some really great people. I talked to people in line. That first day, it was so crowded that every session had a huge line before you could get inside the session to hear the speaker. And people were waiting like 30 minutes or more in line before they could get in. So talking to people in line. Yeah, I went to a networking event, which was like an after hours event. I went to the one that was with Microsoft, and it was actually for creators. So it's like other content creators were there, and I met other content creators. Those girls were like influencer type content creators. Like they knew how to pose, their makeup was on point, their outfits were good, and I didn't really feel like I fit in all that much. So I gotta, if I ever go back to an event like that, I gotta step it up. Although, in my defense, I was there for the conference, and I'm pretty sure they didn't wear what they were wearing to the conference. And I didn't get to change before going to the after hours event. Another thing to add: the hotel that we stayed at was very nice. It was not downtown, it was about a 20-minute drive from downtown. But we picked that because the other option was to stay downtown and pay like $2,000 for a hotel for the duration of the conference. And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not even if I had a job, I was not about to pay no $2,000 to stay in Houston. So on the outskirts of downtown we went, and yeah, there wasn't much around the hotel, but it was fine. The hotel itself, I think, had been renovated recently, so it was nice. And yeah, I would suggest it. Those are my tips for during the conference, after the conference, after you've talked to, after you talk to the recruiters. And turn on the light. The sun is setting. The sun is setting. Sorry, I'm filming too late in the day again. While at the conference, I kept a note in my phone. I had a list. I had a list of all the companies that I wanted to talk to. See that? All that. Companies that after talking to them, I needed to go to their website and apply for them. Any session that I was in that had like books that they suggested or different resources, I put that in my phone. That last day at the conference was just for content creators. And so I had a whole list of different tips that they were giving for content creators. All the different talent networks that I joined. See all these different talent networks, because each company had like a QR code that you could scan to join their talent network. That way, when you apply for one of their jobs, they already have your information and it's basically like tagged in their system that they know you from Afrotech. That way, they can track you and say, oh, we talked to this many people from Afrotech, or this many people from Afrotech ended up applying for positions. And if they end up hiring you, they can then say, like, oh, we hired this many people from Afrotech. Yeah. I put all this information in my phone, right? And then I also kept a list in my phone of all the different recruiters that I talked to, recruiters or just people from different departments that were working the booth at for their company, right? And so after Afrotech, after it ended, I had all of their LinkedIn information, and one by one, I sent them individualized messages saying, "Hi, it was great meeting you. My name's Simone. Just to refresh your memory, this is me. This is how many years of experience I have, more than 8 years of experience. These are the areas that I'm focused in: design systems and accessibility. These are the roles that I'm interested in: content design, UX design, accessibility specialist. And yeah, it was great meeting you, and I would love to stay connected." That type of thing. Just kept it short, concise, and giving them a reminder of who I am. And if anything happened in our conversation that could make me stand out, then I included that in the message. Like one guy, we were talking about Invincible and The Boys, and those are TV shows if you don't know what those are. But we both watched them and we were talking about that in the conference. And so when I messaged him, I was like, "Hey, I'm so and so. Remember me? We talked about Invincible." And he was like, "Yeah, I remember you. Gotta love my fellow Invincible fans." So yeah, so just if you can, try to include anything that can make them remember you, because you talk to a lot of recruiters, hopefully, but they talk to way more people than you talk to recruiters, right? So if they talk to, I'm just making something up, but if they talk to 100 people, how are they going to remember you? So try to include something that can make them remember your conversation. Now, as far as what happened afterwards, I have done one interview so far. It was an informational interview. I talked to someone from one company and they said that they liked my experience and they wanted to learn more about me. However, they are not the ones who actually hire for people with my background, but they wanted to learn more about me because they are connected to a lot of recruiters. And so when she met with me, then she was able to forward my information to the right recruiters who work on the teams that I actually can work with. Hopefully that leads to something. Hopefully that builds some more connections. If anything, we shall see. Yeah, I'm so glad that I went. I think that it was great for me to meet more people. I think it was also great for me socially to learn that even though I'm introverted, that doesn't mean that I can't talk to new people, and I got to practice that skill set and everything. So I'm really glad that I went. The job market is still the job market. A lot of these companies aren't hiring right now because it's the end of the year and they kind of freeze hiring until January. So it may take until January for something to kind of pan out. But I think it was a great experience. And that was my first time going to Afrotech. And I really want to be able to go back next year. Next year's like the 10 year, and I'm sure they're going to do it even bigger and better. So I would love to be in the position to go back again next year. And if you're someone that I got to meet, hi. I hopefully I lived up to whatever you have envisioned of me in your head, but it was great meeting people while I was there. Pretty much every day I met someone who watches the channel, either here or maybe they saw me on Instagram or TikTok or something. But yeah, it was really cool to meet people in person. So it was great meeting you. Hello. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you were at Afrotech and I didn't see you, let me know in the comments. Let me know how you thought the conference went. And give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed. And I will see you next time. Bye.